The annual bonus hit my account. $1. I stared at those digits for a full minute. No anger. New resentment. Not even a ripple. For 3 years, at a company called Apex Innovations, I had been like a blindfolded mule, circling a system called ARC, turning day and night without rest. It was the lifeline of every business at Apex. From the core architecture to every module update, every single character of code had been typed out by me alone. I carried it like my own child, pouring my blood, sweat, and soul into it. And my direct supervisor, Linda Clark, along with the CEO, Victor Hale, were the 2 executioners crouched over that child, draining its blood. Then I opened the company intranet system. The cursor hovered over the resignation button. Cold screen light washed over my bloodless face. I clicked submit. In the box marked reason for leaving, I typed only this: personal reasons. After that was done, I shut down my computer. I packed up the backpack I had used for 3 years, so worn you could barely tell what it used to look like. When I stood, the entire engineering department was empty. Only the lonely lamp at my desk was still on. 3 in the morning, again. For more than 1,000 days and nights, it had always been like this. I walked out of the office building like a ghost. Cold wind struck my face. Only then did I belatedly shiver. So winter had already become this cold. At 9 the next morning, I arrived at the company on time. I went straight to Linda Clark's office. She was holding a cup of instant coffee, lazily scrolling through her phone. When she saw me, her brows lifted in irritation. "Ethan, did you fix that emergency bug from last night?" I did not answer her question. I simply handed her my resignation form. "Miss Clark, I'm resigning." "Ethan, are you throwing a tantrum? Is this about the annual bonus? $1 is a little low. But young people need to think long term. The company is at a critical stage of growth. Everyone needs to tighten their belts and get through this lean period. You have sacrificed so much for the company. Mr. Hale and I have both seen it. How could we ever shortchange you?" My gaze fell on the gleaming watch on her wrist. Last month, after I pulled all-nighters for half a month to secure an 8-figure project for the company, that was the little gift she bought herself. As for my project bonus, it was a $500 employee of them and bonus. I want to rest. Fine. Since you are so tired, I will give you a few days off. Take some time to cool your head. Come back to work when you have thought it through. But let me remind you, Ethan, do not overestimate yourself. This project, this company, keeps running no matter who leaves. Outside, graduates from top-tier universities are lined up to join Apex Innovations. Human resources looked shocked when they saw me. After receiving Linda Clark's internal call, they put on a cold by-the-book expression. I stayed silent and cooperated the whole time. Finally, on the resignation handover form, I signed my name. In the handover documents, I wrote only the basic operating guide for the ARC system. As for its true core architecture, the 3-layer nested core logic, the private key algorithm I wrote myself, unique and never reported to anyone, and the hidden safeguards built to prevent code leaks, with layers of hidden failsafes and timers. I did not mention a single word. This was the work I had poured my life into. They did not deserve it. After finishing every procedure, holding a cardboard box packed with my few personal belongings, I walked out of the building. I looked up at the glass wall tower rising into the clouds. In my eyes, it was a tomb about to collapse. I went to the biggest real estate agency in the city. To the stunned agent, I said, "There is only one condition for the sale. Cash in full. The sooner, the better. Your property is in a prime location. There is really no need to cut the price this much. If you wait, you will definitely find a better buyer. I need cash fast." I needed enough money to leave this country as quickly as possible. 3 days later, the house was sold. A sum far beyond all my wages and savings landed in my account. I booked a one-way ticket to New Zealand. A week later, in the airport business lounge, I messaged Ryan Walker, my only trusted colleague and friend, on WhatsApp. I asked him to feed my cat for a few days. When Ryan replied, I simply turned off my phone. The plane's engines roared. The aircraft began to taxi. Outside the window, the city grew smaller and smaller, until it became a blur of scattered lights. Goodbye to my youth. Goodbye to the cage that had consumed 3 years of my life. From today on, Ethan Reed was dead. The one who survived was someone entirely new. The plane landed in Queenstown, New Zealand. The moment I stepped out of the airport, the unique warmth of a southern hemisphere summer carried the scent of grass and lake water, washed over me. I took a deep breath. It felt as if 3 years of stale air in my lungs were finally swept clean in that instant. By Lake Wakatipu, I rented a wooden cabin with a garden. When I opened the window, blue lake water and rolling snow-capped mountains filled my view. I began living a life I had never imagined. I grew flowers and went fishing. I ran each morning along the lakeside trail. I felt myself coming back to life. The days passed, one by one. On the 5th day, on my new overseas number, I received a WhatsApp voice message from Ryan Walker. His voice sounded cautious, but edged with panic. That server maintenance file you left behind. Why is it only one page? Yesterday, one endpoint, in a CRM system, suddenly would not connect. I told him to follow the document. Ryan fell silent, on the other end. I could picture it clearly, him staring at his phone, completely flustered. Watching the show felt pretty good. The company's chaos had only just begun. Those minor bugs I had once crushed without thinking started springing up everywhere, one after another. Without me, the system's only real patch, the engineering department, and the programmers Linda Clark kept running in circles, were completely overwhelmed. At the weekly department meeting, Linda Clark barked orders. So, Ethan Reed leaves, and all of you are suddenly useless? You cannot even fix one tiny bug. What am I paying you for? She tried to package up my code and hand it to an outside contractor. But after studying it for 2 days, the outsourced team sent it straight back. Their reason was simple. Without the complete system architecture diagram and core logic, they had no way to even begin. Any reckless change would only crash the entire system. That was when Linda Clark started to panic, because the real trouble had arrived. The company's biggest client, a publicly traded company, saw its core data interface suddenly throw an error. Their operations stalled for half a day because of it. The financial loss was enormous. The client's chief technology officer flew into a rage. He called Victor Hale, the president, directly. He threatened to start the breach of contract claim process and terminate all future cooperation. That contract was the company's biggest source of profit that year. Linda Clark completely lost her nerve. Trembling with fear, she knocked on the president's office door. That was the first time she called me after I left. Watching Linda Clark's name flash on the screen, I hung up without hesitation. Then I blocked her. 1 second later, an unknown number called in. I hung up and blocked it again. After this repeated more than a dozen times, my phone finally went quiet. Mr. Hale, this has to be Ethan Reed's doing. When he resigned, he deliberately left traps in the system. There is something seriously wrong with his character. This is deliberate revenge. Ethan, buddy, something huge happened. Linda, the skinflint, came out of Mr. Hale's office crying after he tore into her. I heard Mr. Hale went ballistic in his office. He said he would go out and hire another architect at 3 times your current salary. 3 times my salary? Victor Hale was still that arrogant, still that full of himself. He thought every problem in the world could be solved with money. He thought every person had a price tag and could be replaced at any time. He was wrong. Some things cannot be bought. Like an ark built from 3 years of my blood, sweat, and soul, and belonging to me alone. I looked out at the quiet lake beyond the window and let out a soft laugh. The storm was coming, and from thousands of miles away. I would enjoy the grand fireworks staged for me alone. On the 8th day, Judgment Day, arrived. Morning, in New Zealand. The sky had only just begun to brighten. I put on my running shoes and went for a morning run along the lake. The crisp air filled my lungs, carrying a hint of sweetness. Halfway through my run, the phone in my pocket started vibrating like crazy. Not one call, a whole chain of them. I stopped running. I pulled out my phone. Rows of unfamiliar numbers from back home were flooding across the screen. I ended one call, and the next came instantly. My WhatsApp friend requests exploded too. Hundreds of profiles, all different. But the verification messages were strangely identical. Ethan Reed, please, pick up the phone. Engineer Reed, help us. The company is finished. Ethan, you absolute lifesaver. I'm Mr. Hale's assistant. Mr. Hale is going insane trying to reach you. Expressionless, I scrolled through the screen until I saw one from Ryan Walker. His voice almost unrecognizable, choked with panic and near tears. Ethan, buddy, something terrible happened. Arc is completely locked. At exactly 8 this morning, every computer screen in the company flickered with a snap, then went black, and a window popped up. It had one line: awaiting architect private key verification. All backend data, all client records, all business systems. None of it can be accessed. The company is completely. The curve of my mouth widened little by little until it became a brilliant smile. The highest level security protocol I had built into Arc myself had been triggered to prevent the system's core data from being stolen or maliciously altered. Once every quarter, the system automatically entered lockdown. It required me personally to pass my exclusive biometric iris scan, plus a 128-character dynamic private key for 2-factor verification. Only then could the next operating cycle activate. That security level was modeled on military-grade security systems. I had never told anyone about it. I slipped the phone back into my pocket and kept jogging. But in my mind, I could see it clearly. inside Apex Innovations headquarters. The scene right now had to be spectacular. Hundreds of employees staring at pitch-black screens, helpless and at a complete loss. The customer service lines blown up by furious clients. Every call landing like a bomb. The sales team, unable to pull contract data, getting shredded by partners and left too humiliated to respond. Finance, unable to process settlements. The entire company's cash flow, frozen in place. And inside the president's office, Victor Hale's face had probably never looked so dark. He would be like a lion, in a rage, roaring at Linda Clark, who was terrified out of her mind. This is what you called no problem. This is the company that keeps running no matter who leaves. I didn't know. Mr. Hale, I really did not know. He never said anything like this existed. That sneaky bastard. After that, Victor Hale started using other phones, or maybe his own phone, and started calling me, personally. I looked at my phone screen, where Victor Hale's name finally appeared. Calmly, I pressed mute. Let him call. Let him taste the despair of having no one to turn to. He kept switching numbers. From his assistant's cell to the front desk landline, texts flooded in one after another. At first, the tone was condescending. Ethan Reed, call back immediately. Then it turned into urgent orders. Ethan Reed, come back. We need to talk. Stop acting like a child. Then came threats, barely holding back rage. This is corporate extortion. I am warning you. Company legal will contact you immediately. What you are doing is a crime. I jogged leisurely back to my wooden cabin. I fried myself to golden sunny side-up eggs. With lightly charred toast and a glass of milk, I carried the plate out into the garden. Facing the deep blue lake and the distant snow-capped mountains, I took a photo. Then I opened WhatsApp, almost bursting with messages, and posted a status update. The photo showed good food and a beautiful view. The caption read, "New life." I hid it from my parents and relatives, and made it visible to every employee at Apex Innovations. After posting it, I set down my phone and cut into the runny egg. Golden yolk flowed out slowly, just like some arrogant corporate tyrant, sweating cold sweat right now. The game had begun, and this time, I was the one setting the rules. The moment that status update went out, it was like throwing water into a pan of hot oil. Everything exploded instantly. My phone never stopped vibrating. Victor Hale's call barrage grew even more intense, but he soon discovered that I had blocked every number he used. So he started looking for other ways. His first call went to my parents' house. My mother's anxious voice came through the receiver. "Ethan, honey, what on earth is going on? Your boss called the house. He said, you caused a huge disaster, and told you to go back and handle it immediately. Did something happen to you?" "Mom, it is fine. I resigned. I am studying abroad for a while. The phone signal is bad here. That was my former boss. We have a small dispute. I will handle it. Do not worry, and do not take his calls anymore." After hanging up, my gaze went cold. "Victor Hale, you actually dared to go after my family. I will remember that debt." Right after that, Linda Clark somehow dug around in some forgotten corner and found my ex-girlfriend's contact information. She tried to play the sympathy card. My ex sent me the screenshots. Linda Clark's WhatsApp voice notes were shamelessly dramatic. She said Ethan Reed was a good man, but he had gone too far. Please, talk some sense into him. Do not let him ruin his future over a grudge. I simply had my ex send back one huge red question mark as her reply. Victor Hale finally used the connections he was so proud of and tracked down my new number in New Zealand. When the call came in, I was fishing by the lake. Seeing that unfamiliar international code on the screen, I knew it was him. This time, I answered. "Ethan Reed. What do you want?" "Money. A title. Name your price." "Mr. Hale, don't be so loud. You will scare my fish away. I am not very interested in working for anyone right now. A $1 million annual bonus. The deputy director of engineering position. All those project bonuses you mentioned before, I will pay them back at double, as long as you come back right now." 1 million does sound like a lot. But, Mr. Hale, I made far more than that, selling my house. After saying that, before he could react, I hung up. Not long after, Ryan Walker messaged me again. This time, it was a brief text. "The company's stock opened down 5% today. Several major clients have jointly sent legal demand letters. They are preparing to start the breach of contract claim process. Initial estimates put the claims at 9 figures. Mr. Hale spent a fortune hiring those so-called top-tier cybersecurity experts. They studied ARC's firewall for a full day and night. Their report says the system's defense logic is self-contained and closed-loop. Unless they physically destroy the servers, there is no way to crack it from the outside." Everything was exactly as I expected. Just then, my phone rang again. It was Victor Hale again. This time, there was no anger in his voice. No threats, either. Only a broken tremor, like a man driven to the edge. Engineer Reed, I apologize for what happened before. Please come back and help the company through this crisis. Name your terms. As long as I can do it. Is that so? Anything? Let me think. I was in no hurry at a time like this. Patience mattered more than ever. I wanted him frantic with panic, trapped in despair and torment, while his arrogance and patience drained away, bit by bit. I brought that plump red trout back to the cabin and carefully prepared a full fish feast. Grilled fish, fish soup, sashimi. I poured myself a glass of New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc and savored it slowly before the lake and mountains. Meanwhile, inside Apex Innovations headquarters, a hysterical blame-shifting session was unfolding in the president's office. All of it was being reported to me live by Ryan Walker over WhatsApp. Victor Hale poured all his fury straight on to Linda Clark, once his most trusted lieutenant. You were the one who told me Ethan did not matter, that his skills were replaceable. You cut his annual bonus just to take credit for saving money. You were the one who drove him away. Now the company is falling apart. Contracts worth over $100 million are about to collapse. Are you satisfied now? Mr. Hale, this is not my fault. He is just petty. He could not handle a $1 annual bonus. I only wanted to save the company money. Save the company money. You are suspended. Now, get out. Linda Clark completely broke down. After being thrown out of the office, the first thing she did was send me dozens of 60-second WhatsApp voice notes. The content was a full-blown emotional soap opera. At first, it was vicious cursing. She called me an ungrateful snake. She accused me of betraying everyone who helped me. She said the company had trained me. Yet I turned around and bit the hand that fed me. Ethan Reed, you petty bastard. I hope you rot. I must have been blind. I should never have hired you in the first place. Later, when she realized I was not reacting, her tone shifted into pleading. Ethan, please. For the sake of the years we worked together, please help me. All right. Tell Mr. Hale. This has nothing to do with me. It is all your problem. No. I mean, come back quickly and unlock the system. As long as the company is safe, Mr. Hale will not fire me. I was wrong. I really was wrong. I should not have withheld your bonus. I should not have taken credit for your work. I am begging you. Please, for the sake of my mortgage and car payments, let me off this. Once, listening to Linda Clark's words, my face showed nothing. I calmly finished the last bite of grilled fish, and then did one thing. I took Linda Clark's dozens of voice notes, and converted every one of them into text. Then I copied them wholesale, exactly as they were, and sent them to Victor Hale. Victor Hale went silent. He was a smart man. He would understand exactly what that move meant. I was telling him I was no longer someone he could push around, or someone a woman like Linda Clark could trample like a harmless pushover. I was also telling him that watching them turn on each other was nothing but a ridiculous show to me. And now, the curtain was ready to fall. Apex Innovations was already rotting and collapsing from within. I left him hanging for an entire day. Not until the next morning did I finally call Victor Hale myself. He answered almost instantly. Mr. Hale, I will get straight to the point. Have you thought it through? My time is very valuable. In barely 2 days. Victor Hale looked as if he had aged 10 years. His office was an even bigger wreck. Ethan, just say it. What will it take for you to unlock the system? First, let us discuss my emotional distress compensation. Of course. Tell me how much you want. $30 million. $30 million? Ethan Reed, why don't you just rob me? Mr. Hale, do not get worked up. You can choose not to pay. I just checked the news. Your company's stock hit its daily trading limit, down again today. The market value you lost in one day should be more than that, right? And then there are the penalties from those major clients. I hear they are calculated in the hundreds of millions. Robbery, compared with the losses you caused. My $30 million is a drop in the bucket. I am helping you. Helping you cut your losses. Fine. I will pay. Excellent. Mr. Hale really does know how to make hard decisions. The money is only the first step. Also, I want you and Linda Clark to hold a company-wide live stream apology. The content will be simple. For the matter of the $1 annual bonus, you will publicly apologize to me, Ethan Reed. I will write the apology myself. All you have to do is read it on camera, word for word. I agree. I agree to everything. The next morning, on Apex Innovations Company intranet system, an unprecedented live stream began. Ryan Walker sent me the live stream link immediately. On screen, Victor Hale and Linda Clark stood side by side. I, Victor Hale, as president of Apex Innovations, hereby offer our former employee, Mr. Reed, my sincerest apology. Because of my management failures and arrogant decisions, I allowed Director of Engineering, Linda Clark, to treat Mr. Reed unfairly for a long time. This included, but was not limited to, stealing credit for his work, withholding his project bonuses, and finally issuing him a $1 annual bonus as a personal humiliation. I fully recognize that my actions gravely damaged the dignity of an outstanding employee and violated the company's core values. Here, I solemnly apologize to Mr. Reed. I'm sorry. When he finished, it was Linda Clark's turn. Her voice shook like a fallen leaf in an autumn wind, barely holding together. I, Linda Clark, apologize for my previous manipulative guess and for shifting the blame onto Mr. Reed. I am sorry. The Livestream chat had completely lost its mind. Holy shit. Holy shit. Is this real? Am I dreaming? A $1 annual bonus. It is real. The president and director are apologizing in public. This is insane. Who is Ethan Reed? That guy is incredible. He took down the entire executive team single-handedly. Ethan Reed is a legend, so he was not throwing a tantrum. He was forced out. The $30 million technical service fee arrived within half an hour after the live stream ended, right on time in the overseas account I designated. Victor Hale was very efficient. His survival instinct was just as strong. I kept my promise. I opened my laptop. My fingers flew across the keyboard. I did not connect to the company's internal network. Instead, I used a route I had built myself, an encrypted satellite link, and remotely connected to the ARC system servers. I entered a temporary access key. The next second, Ryan Walker called me on WhatsApp. His voice was so excited he could barely speak straight. Ethan, buddy, they lit up. They are on. All the computer screens are on. The system is back. I gave a faint hum of acknowledgement. But this is only a temporary unlock. I told him. After 72 hours, if no new instructions are given, the system will lock again. And this time, it will trigger permanent data destruction. I calmly stated that brutal fact. Victor Hale thought that once he paid, the deal was settled, and the matter was over. He was far too naive. I hung up on Ryan Walker, opened my email, and sent Victor Hale a message. The subject line read, "Further discussion regarding ownership of the ARC system." The email itself was brief. Mr. Hale, thank you for the $30 million. But that payment only covers a 72-hour temporary unlock. Now, we can discuss who the ARC system itself truly belongs to. In the email attachment, I included a PDF file. Inside was the personal patent for the ARC system's core algorithm architecture. The certificate listed the patent holder as Ethan Reed, with a filing date set years earlier, while I was building the ARC system for Apex Innovations. I had kept this ace up my sleeve. I took the system's deepest, most essential algorithm, and registered it under my own name, with the International Patent Registry. It was like I had built an entire building. Apex Innovations could live in the building, but I owned the land under it. I had never planned to use it before, but now, they had placed that weapon in my hands themselves. Less than a minute after the email went out, Victor Hale's call came chasing after it. This time, there was no pleading in his voice. Only a furious, frantic roar. Ethan Reed, what the hell do you mean? What exactly are you trying to do? Do not push this too far. That system was developed while you worked for the company. It is an employee-created work product. It is company property. No, Mr. Hale, you have it wrong. According to the employment contract I signed with the company, and the relevant laws and regulations, work product classification depends on certain conditions. And when I developed ARC, I carefully avoided every factor that would make it company-owned work product. So, what you had was only ever usage rights to the system. And now, I am taking them back. Of course, I am not an unreasonable man. I can transfer ownership of this system to your company. As for the price, let us call it $1. Just like the annual bonus you gave me. Mr. Hale, my terms are that simple. Either you spend $1 to buy ownership of ARC back from me, and we sign a formal transfer agreement, or after 72 hours, the system will automatically execute its final command and wipe every server drive, permanently destroying all data. Oh, and one friendly reminder. I am the legal owner of this system's core algorithm. Disposing of an intangible asset under my own name is legally called asset disposal. It is not illegal. Victor Hale fell into total despair. He finally understood. From the moment I received that $1 annual bonus, I had been laying the groundwork. I resigned calmly. I handed everything over quietly. I sold my house and left the country without a ripple. Every step was beyond his expectations, yet entirely within my plan. He thought he had driven away a harmless, easily exploited programmer. He was wrong. What? He drove away. Was a devil he could never afford to provoke. Just when I thought Victor Hale would either explode in silence or surrender, an unexpected call disrupted my rhythm. The caller ID showed an unfamiliar number from back home. But one glance at the area code told me it was not one of Victor Hale's people. The caller was Michael Bennett, CEO of Brightstar Technologies. Mr. Reed, I will get straight to the point. We have heard about what happened at Apex Innovations. The ARC system you designed, our technical team has reviewed from the outside. It is extraordinary. We believe someone with your talent should not be buried, and certainly should not be humiliated by corporate power like this. We would like to invite you to join Brightstar Technologies. Of course, not as an employee, but as a partner. The terms were shockingly generous. Michael Bennett wanted more than to poach me. He wanted to take my ARC along with me. And the terms he offered hit every one of my needs with surgical precision. Autonomy, funding, and a powerful backer, all of it. Somehow, this news reached Victor Hale's ears. Perhaps Michael Bennett had leaked it deliberately to put pressure on me and to deliver Victor Hale a fatal blow. In any case, less than 10 minutes after I hung up with Michael Bennett, Ryan Walker sent me urgent intel. Ethan, buddy, Victor Hale has lost it. He smashed everything in his office that could be smashed. He just called an emergency executive meeting, apparently to discuss how to respond to Brightstar Technologies trying to poach you. Victor Hale was completely panicking. He knew better than anyone that if the ARC system fell into the hands of Brightstar Technologies, his rival, then for Apex Innovations, it would not be as simple as paralysis and data loss. Not even close. It would be a total catastrophe. Brightstar Technologies would use ARC's underlying architecture to rapidly develop more advanced products. Michael Bennett's offer was genuinely tempting. I replied to Michael Bennett with a text. Thank you for the recognition, Mr. Bennett. The terms are extremely attractive. Please give me some time to consider them. I deliberately left the door open. Linda Clark was formally fired by Victor Hale. Then the company's legal department informed her that as the person directly responsible for a major work failure, she would be sued for part of the company's losses. After that woman had been squeezed dry of her last bit of value, she was ruthlessly kicked to the curb. With nowhere left to turn, she actually did the most shameless, most disgraceful thing possible. She found my parents' home address. She found my parents. That day, I was using the smart security camera in my parents' house to check on my parents, getting ready to video call them. Then I saw Linda Clark on the surveillance feed. She dropped to her knees at my front door with a thud, facing my stunned parents. After they opened the door, she burst into loud, wailing sobs. Her hair was a mess. Her makeup was smeared from crying. There was nothing left of her usual, polished, respectable director's image. She looked like a madwoman. She twisted the truth, downplayed the worst of it, and pushed all the blame onto me. Mr. and Mrs. Reed, I am begging you, please save me. This is all Ethan's fault. He is petty and can't tolerate anyone. I only criticized him a little, but he held a grudge, set a trap, and destroyed the entire company. Now Mr. Hale wants to fire me and make me pay millions in damages. I still have a child to support at home. I still have a mortgage to pay. I was dragged into this because of him. Please, talk to him for me. Ask him to show mercy. Tell him to spare me, and spare the company too. If he keeps doing this, he could go to prison. She pleaded with tears streaming down her face, putting on a performance so convincing it almost looked real. My honest, simple-hearted parents had never faced anything like this. She frightened them so badly, they were at a loss. All they could do was help her up while trying to comfort her. I watched that ugly face of hers on the surveillance feed, and saw the anxious worry on my parents' faces. My gaze turned colder by the second. I did not call home right away. I directly pressed the camera's remote two-way audio button. A cold, emotionless synthesized voice suddenly rang out at my front door. Director Clark, back then, when you stole the work I had stayed up 3 nights to finish. The project plan I had written, and claimed it as your own work in the meeting. Did you ever think this day would come? Back then, when you took the project bonus you withheld from me, and handed it to that useless relative of yours as a year-end bonus, while arranging some do-nothing job for him. Did you never think karma would catch up with you? Back then, in front of the entire department, you called the results of my hard work worthless. You told me young people should not obsess over gains and losses, using that manipulative gaslighting on me. Did you never think the tables would turn? Now, take your tears, and that twisted version of the truth, and get out of my house. Do not let me see you through this camera again. My voice was calm, but it carried a chill she could not resist. Linda Clark looked as if all her strength had been drained away. She collapsed, limply, onto the ground. A few seconds later, she scrambled to her feet in a panic. Then she fled in disgrace without looking back. I watched her back vanish at the end of the hallway, my eyes utterly calm. Word of this soon reached Victor Hale. Through it, he finally understood one fact. I, Ethan Reed, would never back down. No sympathy card, no moral blackmail would work on me. His last shred of hope shattered with it. In the final 3 hours of the 72-hour deadline, my legal team, New Zealand's top commercial attorneys, received a call from Apex Innovations' legal department. They had drafted an intellectual property transfer agreement and sent it over. My legal team spent 2 hours reviewing the agreement, word by word, line by line, making sure there were no word games or hidden legal traps. Once they confirmed it was airtight, we launched the final video conference. On the screen were Victor Hale's lawyers, my legal team, and both Victor Hale and me. Victor Hale sat at the head of the table. His eyes were hollow. His face was ashen. He sat there in silence, like a stone statue about to crumble into dust. The meeting began. Lawyers on both sides confirmed the final version of the agreement. Before signing, Victor Hale lifted his head. His gaze crossed the screen and settled on my face. Ethan, he said hoarsely, you win. I looked at him and calmly shook my head. I never wanted to beat anyone. I am only taking back what was always mine. And while I am at it, reclaiming the respect I was owed. Victor Hale gave a bleak smile. It was filled with endless bitterness and regret. Perhaps he was thinking that if he had not been so arrogant back then, if he had not been so stingy, if he had given me even a few tens of thousands more as an annual bonus, would the ending have been completely different? But there are no ifs. With both sides, lawyers as witnesses, Victor Hale picked up the digital signature stylus with trembling hands. On the agreement transferring all intellectual property rights to the ARC system. Over to me. Over to me. He signed his name. The transfer price field was clear. $1. The agreement was fully signed the moment it became legally binding. I opened my mobile banking app in front of him. I entered Apex Innovations' corporate account. For the transfer amount, I typed 1.00. Then, in the memo field, I clearly typed the words, acquisition payment. I tapped, confirm. Transfer successful. I took the screenshot showing the successful transfer, and, through the meeting software, displayed it to everyone on the other side of the screen. Mr. Hale paid in full. In that moment, the balance of power had completely shifted. I used the very method he had used to humiliate me, to deliver the final, fatal blow. A humiliating surrender. A twist of the knife. This was a strike against corporate arrogance, the most complete, resounding slap in the face. Victor Hale stared at that $1 transfer screenshot. His body suddenly swayed. His breath caught in his chest. Then he toppled backward. The video feed filled with chaotic cries of alarm and cut off abruptly. Victor Hale did not die in the end. But Apex Innovations, the company he built with his own hands, was dead.